Praise the Lord. This year, on Thanksgiving, there's a unique event that's going to happen to people. For the very first time in history, and for the last time in history, Hanukkah, a Jewish feast day, is going to be on Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving. So, why is that important? You know, I'm not for sure, but I believe it is a sign, something that's going to happen. And it is unique that 2013, the Feast of Hanukkah is going to be on our day of Thanksgiving. The very same day. The very same day. Now, Hanukkah lasts 8 days. And they totally believe, and I will put things down below to sites, that the very first Thanksgiving day lasted 3 days. So what went on during Hanukkah? Okay, Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday celebrated for 8 days and nights. It starts on the 25th of the Jewish month of Kislev and was celebrated with late November, December on the scheduled calendar, our calendar. You know, it overlaps. A Hebrew word Hanukkah means Dedication. Now, what does that mean? I mean, in English. Let me go look up in my good dictionary what this word means. So, I'm sure some of you are going, I know. But those that may not know, I want to know. Okay, let me find the word. I'm slow, but it's okay. Dedication. A directing or being directed, an inspiration, as in a book, directing it to a person, cause, wholehearted, devoted. Okay. The name reminds us that this holiday Commemorates the rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem following the Jewish victory over the Syrian Greeks in the year 165 BCE, before Christ, okay? Let's go down and read. In 168 BCE, the Jewish temple was seized by the Syrian Greek soldiers and designated to the worship of Zeus, the god Zeus. This upset the Jewish people, but many were afraid to fight back for fear of reprisal. Then in 167 BCE, the Saran Greek Empire, Antiochus, Antiochus, made the observance of Judaism an official, an offense punishable by death. He also ordered all Jews to worship Greek gods. Jews resist beginning in the month of Modin near Jerusalem. Oh, I'm sorry, not month. Said wrong. Jewish resistance began in the village of Modin near Jerusalem. Greek soldiers forcibly gathered the Jewish villagers and told them to bow down to an idol, then eat the flesh of a pig. Now we all know that that is against the laws that were presented to the Jewish people, Judah, and all the other tribes of Israel, that they are not to eat the flesh of a pig. So they were trying to force these people to bow down their knee to an idol, which is against the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt have no other gods. Thou shalt not bow thy knees to any god. And then also in the desert, from the mount, when Moses come down, they could not eat pigs. Well, one good reason is pigs in a hot climate, which they were about to go in through a desert, will cause diseases in the body, like malaria. I'm not malaria, but like the white disease that would get in your skin and finally kill you. Both practices that are forbidden to the Jews. A Greek official ordered Mattathias, a high priest, to yield to their demands, but this man refused. And when another villager stepped before and offered to cooperate on this high priest's behalf, the high priest became outraged. He drew his sword, killed the villager, and then turned on the Greek officers, killed him too. His 5 sons and the other villagers then attacked the remaining soldiers, killing all of them. The high priest and his family went into hiding in the mountains, and where other Jewish wished to fight against the Greeks joined them. Eventually they seceded and retook their land from the Greeks. Their rebellion became known as the Maccabees. There's a book called the Maccabees that tell the whole story. Once the Maccabees had regained control, they re-entered the temple in Jerusalem. By this time it had been spiritually defiled by being used for the worship of a foreign gods, and also by practicing such as sacrificing swine, which was totally polluting the temple. Jewish troops were determined to purify the temple by bringing ritual oil in the temple memorial for 8 days. But to their dismay, they discovered that there was only 1 day worth of oil left in the temple. They lit the menorah anyway. To their surprise, the small amount of oil lasted the full 8 days. A miracle upon a miracle. This little bit amount of oil that should have been only for 1 day lasted for a full 8 days. This is the memorial of the Hanukkah oil. This is the miracle of the Hanukkah oil that is celebrated every year when the Jewish light a special memorial known as a Hanukkah for 8 days. Which I have one back there, Hanukkah, that holds the candles. 1 candle is lit on the first day of Hanukkah, 2 on the second, so on until 8 candles are at lit. You can learn more about the Hanukkah in the article, What is Hanukkah? And you can go there, and because this article is going to be below my site. According to the Jewish law, Hanukkah is one of the least important Jewish holidays. However, Hanukkah has become much more popular in modern practice because of the practice of Christmas. Hanukkah falls on the 25th day of the Jewish month of Kisley, which that month falls where this day will be on our Thanksgiving Day this year. Since the Jewish calendar is lunar-based, every year the first day of Hanukkah falls on a different day, usually sometimes between late November and late December. Because many Jewish live in a Christian society, over time Hanukkah has become much more festive and Christmas-like. Jewish children receive gifts for Hanukkah after one gift for each of the 8 days of the holiday. Many parents hope that by making Hanukkah especially special, their children won't feel left out of all the Christmas festivity going on around them. So we need to know that it become, and in fact, Yeshua celebrated Hanukkah. In fact, he got up on Hanukkah and said, I'm the living water, you know. You can go and look that up in the Bible. So, why would this be so important about Hanukkah and Thanksgiving this year? So, let's go over and find out what is so important about Hanukkah and Thanksgiving. Well, okay, let's go, and I'll put this down below too. I want y'all to read. In 1621, the Pilgrim colonists and the Winnipeg Indians shared a autumn harvest feast that is acknowledged today as one of the first Thanksgiving celebrated in the colony. Excuse me. For more than 2 centuries, days of their Thanksgiving were celebrated by individual colonists and state. It wasn't until 1863, in the midst of the Civil War, that President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a national Thanksgiving Day to be held each November. Okay, let's go down and read. In September 1620, a small ship called the Mayflower left Plymouth, England, carrying 102 passengers on assignment of religious separation, seeking a new home where they could freely practice their faith, and other individuals lured to the promise of prosperity and land ownership in the New World. After a tumultuous and uncomfortable crossing that lasted 66 days, they dropped anchor near the tip of Cape Cod, far north of their intended destination at the mouth of the Hudson River. 1 month later, the Mayflower crossed Massachusetts Bay, where the Pilgrims, as they are now commonly known, began the work of establishing a village at Plymouth. Throughout the first brutal winter, most of the colonists remained on board the ship, where they suffered from exposure, outbreaks of disease. Only half of the Mayflower's original passengers and crew lived to see the first New England spring. In March, the remaining settlers moved ashore, where they received an astonishing visit from an Abenaki Indian who greeted them in English. Wow. Several days later, he returned with other Native Americans. Squatio, a member of the Padatex tribe, who had been kidnapped by an English sea captain and sold into slavery before escaping to London and returning to his homeland on an exploration, and Squanto taught the pilgrims who had been ill, had illness and stuff, but he taught them how to cultivate corn, to extract sap from the maple trees. He taught them how to catch fish in the rivers, how to avoid poisonous plants, and hello? Yes. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me call you back real quick because I'm doing a video. Okay. I love you. Bye bye. A member, that was my sis. Pray for her daughter. She's sick. Tina's daughter is sick. So pray for her, please. Okay. By an English sea captain. Oh, okay, well, that was the kidnapping thing. How to cultivate, okay, and how to avoid poisonous plants. He also helped the settlers forge an alliance with the Wampanoag, Wampanoag, don't want to mutilate their name, I honor them, a local tribe which would endure for more than 50 years and tragically remain one of the sole examples of harmony between European colonists and Native Americans. In November 1621, after the Pilgrims' first corn harvest proved successful, Governor William Bradford organized a celebration feast and invited a group of colonists and Native American allies, including the Wampanoag chief, Massasoit. Now, remember, as America's first Thanksgiving, although the Pilgrims themselves may not have used the term at that time, the feast lasted for 3 days. While no record of the history banquet exists menu, the Pilgrims, Edward Winslow, wrote in his journal that Governor Bradford sent 4 men on a filing mission in preparation of the event, and that the Wampanoag guest arrived with 5 deer. His history has suggested that many of the dishes were likely prepared using traditional Native American spices cooking methods because the Pilgrims had no oven, and the Mayflower sugar supply had dwindled by the fall of 1621, and the meal did not feature pies, cakes, or other desserts, which had become a hallmark of the celebration. So we see that both of these things that happened. That there had been stress on the colonists at Plymouth, that what happened to them, they had provisions that come from the Native Americans that lived around there, that welcomed them in and helped them learn how to survive. And in the other one, when we look at Hanukkah, we see that there was a battle going on with them, and that the Maccabees helped take back over the temple and over the land of Israel. And that for their feast, that would become a feast. At that time it wasn't called a feast. But when they went into the temple, there was only a little bit of oil, but God let it last for 8 days, much as he did for the pilgrims when they come over here. Few people understand that a lot of the pilgrims that come here was of Jewish descent. I know some people may argue about that, but throughout history and searching, that some of them were Jewish that come, that the Native Americans helped. They come from England. The pilgrims come from England to escape the dictatorial reign of the Pope and the Catholic Church in their country, demanding they had to worship a certain way. We must remember at this time that the Reformation had happened, and many had come out of the Catholic Church, where, you know, Martin Luther nailed that thing there on their door. The Methodist Church, John Wesley come out of the Catholic Church. There were a lot that finally come, but even before John Wesley and all of the other ones that come out that we recognize as churches of today, had broke away from the Catholic Church, and they were hunted and they were burned at stakes. They were beaten, they were tormented because they come out of the Catholic Church. And that group of pilgrims that was running from the Catholic Church and all of the things that were required of the Catholic Church, they wanted to worship God the way they felt led to worship him. The Jewish people at this time during Hanukkah would refuse to worship the gods of the Syrians and Greeks, and refuse to eat pig's meat. They were both similar together. I believe that this time is a sign, because it happens for the first time in history, people. And it's never will happen again, because you can take the Jewish calendar and run it way into the future. This is the first time that Hanukkah and Thanksgiving are together on the same day. It begins on Thanksgiving, Hanukkah. Unique people. Something strange and unique is happening, because then, beginning with 2014, the first of the 4 blood red moons begin. Think about it. We are in the last days. This is just another sign. Another sign, people, of what's coming. What's happening. We need to understand this. We need to know that we truly are in the last days. We truly are coming to the end of the journey. God is coming back. Yeshua HaMashiach is coming back to earth again to rule and reign. And all these things are being preparated. But first, we see these signs happening. These things happening. The end days are upon us. Praise be to His holy name. Praise be to His holy name. Yeshua is coming back to earth again soon. The tribulations has already started. Years ago, started. We need to wake up, people. We need to understand that we are in the last days. We are in the last days. The tribulations is upon us in the signs. Hanukkah with Thanksgiving, and then 4 blood red moons in 2013, 2014. Much is going to happen. Praise the Lord. This year, on Thanksgiving, there's a unique event that's going to happen to people. For the very first time in history, and for the last time in history, Hanukkah, a Jewish feast day, is going to be on Thanksgiving. So, why is that important? You know, I'm not for sure, but I believe it is a sign, something that's going to happen. And it is unique that 2013, the Feast of Hanukkah is going to be on our day of Thanksgiving. The very same day. The very same day. Now, Hanukkah lasts 8 days. And they totally believe, and I will put things down below to sites, that the very first Thanksgiving day lasted 3 days. So, what went on during Hanukkah? Okay, Hanukkah is a Jewish... The name reminds us that this holiday Commemorates the rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem following the Jewish victory over the Syrian Greeks in the year 165 BCE, before Christ, okay? Let's go down and read. In 168 BCE, the Jewish temple was seized by the Syrian Greek soldiers, and the those that may not know, I want to know. B, C, D, okay. Let me find the word. I'm slow, but it's okay. Okay, D. Okay. Dedication. A directing or being directed. An inspiration, as in a book. Directing it to a person, cause, wholehearted, devoted. Okay. Holiday celebrated for 8 days and nights. It starts on the 25th of the Jewish month of Kislev and was celebrated with late November, December on the scheduled calendar, our calendar. You know, it overlaps. A Hebrew word Hanukkah means Dedication. No, what does that mean? I mean, in English. Let me go look up in my good dictionary what this word means. So I'm sure some of you are going, I know, but